welcome back to the channel. In the end of the last video, maybe it was 2 videos ago, I showed you guys we had a 6.4 power stroke in that was in the incident of being in a small engine fire. We have the cap pulled off the truck here. I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do to fix this thing. The up pipe leaking is actually what caught the truck on fire. So he had an up pipe leaking, and the insulation was hanging down on the firewall. And after a while, even though insulation is fireproof, eventually it did catch fire. So you can see we have a ton of just nasty fire extinguisher material. This thing is dirty. Multiple sensors got burnt. One of the major concerns we have is not only all that stuff, but this firewall is absolutely filthy. And there you guys can see where the fire started, somewhere here in this area. So what I'm gonna do, because this insulation right here is discontinued, you cannot buy it. I can't go out and buy a new piece of this insulation from Ford. They just don't make it anymore. So what I'm gonna have to do is pull it down and clean this cab up real good. Yeah, you could do it right and take the bolts out, but it's just gonna rip anyways. Gosh, there's so much fiberglass in the air just from doing that. I better throw a mask on, guys. Let me get all this stuff pulled off. All right, guys, I've started taking all of the insulation off of the firewall. I've got all of it pulled off that needs to be removed. Gonna be able to save this piece. There was a piece that went up in here that's no good. This piece did not get really affected by the fire at all. This piece I'm gonna try and save just because that's gonna be really hard to cut that. So as long as we can glue that back in place, we'll save that. If not, I don't know. It's kind of looking like it might need to go. This is all pretty solid stuff, so we're not gonna mess with that any. Just basically this section here and here. And I've already started degreasing it. I just using some Purple Power mixed 1-to-1, and then going back through and hitting it with the Tornado. That just hooks to the air compressor. So let's do another coat on this thing. All right, guys, it's Monday and we are just getting back started in the garage after a long 4th of July weekend. We took several days off, but we're back in the shop and hitting it pretty hard this morning. We got the firewall all covered and some heat blanket for the 6.4 project. So Bailey is getting the cab ready to go down on it. Clean the crap out of this. As you guys can see, degreased it, get all of the fire extinguisher material off of it. And with how divoted this is, I did everything I could to keep this as clean looking as possible without sacrificing it ever falling off. It is very sticky. This stuff is super expensive, but my main point of contact was trying to get right where those up pipes are, where that turbocharger is, to keep some of that heat and noise isolated off of the firewall. to put these, to kind of strengthen this radiator, or I'm sorry, this core support back up, is going to be to put the factory riveted pieces back in it like this. So they were kind of over here. I'm just kind of widening them out. So whether it be riveted back on, spot welded back on, I don't really know yet. I'm gonna see what I can come up with that looks good, and that is gonna add a lot of strength back to this thing and get it where it needs to be. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use these factory pieces. I've already marked where I need to cut them. Got that one marked, I need to get this one marked. We'll get these eyes cut and start figuring out how to put these in. While I took a small break on messing with the core support, I went ahead and started tackling this Hydro Boost line scenario. So in case you guys are new to the channel and haven't watched much on this build, it's a 77 Ford with a Cummins. It's on a 90s model Dodge chassis with a Cummins engine, but then I'm using a Chevy brake booster. So the brake booster, what makes it even more confusing in trying to put this all together, not necessarily more confusing, just easier once I figured it out, is the fact that this drivetrain was already in a Cummins swapped Chevy. So this Hydro Boost at one point was hooked to this engine as far as the power steering pump goes. So they already had those fittings figured out, and they're kind of homemade. They don't really look the best, but this is the only one I'm really going to redo, is this one. It's just not really long enough. The other ones don't look terrible once you get some paint on them. I mean, it just kind of, you know, they got the bends and it kind of goes where they should, but just really remake this one line, and we'll probably call that good on these. But I went ahead and hooked it up and just got the power steering pump topped off with fluid, and it does, in fact, bleed out good. So I'm gonna mark that as a win for now. Like I said, we'll go back and address this line issue with this line being too short. But as of right now, the power steering should work. I was really also concerned on the core support about finding a brace, how to brace this up, and I completely forgot that it has this bracket right here that bolts from the grill to the core support, and I was able to find that. I started Googling what they look like from the factory, and I just misplaced this bracket. So that's going to take care of our core support as far as that goes. I'm going to pull the grill back off of it and pull the radiator out, and then just do a quick little spray paint job on the last little bit of this core support, and then we will go ahead and finally put the grill on for the final time, the bumper on for the final time, and the only thing I'll have to do is put electric fans in, but I should have plenty of room to be able to get into those. As far as that goes, I already have, you guys can see the radiator hoses dummied in, so we know they're going to work, obviously, just because it's Dodge location. They fit pretty good. And then I also need to get some shocks for this thing. Leave a comment down below if you guys know what length of shocks I need to get. Looks like does have a 2.5 inch leveling kit in it. I just need to know what kind of shocks to get since I'm running these delete plates. So leave a comment down below if you have that information handy on which ones to run. And then obviously, yeah. So that was a major accomplishment, I feel like, getting power steering taken care of. I'm going to jump back to this core support and go ahead and try to wrap this thing up today. At the beginning of the video, you guys saw we had this 6.4 Power Stroke with the cab up, obviously. Had a small engine fire, but Bailey has got it pretty much most of the way wrapped up. Right now we're battling a power steering issue. For whatever reason, the truck does not currently have very good, adequate power steering. It'll fade away as you're driving. So he is doing a flush on that real quick to try and see if we can knock out some of those problems. But other than that, the truck is running pretty good, and you guys can see our heat insulation turned out pretty sharp. It looks pretty good. Engine cleaned up good. So this thing will be going home very, very soon. Well guys, that is finished product for the core support. I went ahead and remounted the bumper on the truck and stuck the radiator back in it just to kind of see what it's going to look like when it's all done. I think it's pretty sharp. I went ahead and put some black paint on the firewall just because I had a lot of paint coming off in certain spots, and whether he's going to have it repainted and they redo that, that's up to them. But just for now, for presentation reasons and just to kind of keep rust, any type of surface rust from starting, I did a little coat of black paint on the firewall, nothing crazy. So that is going to wrap up the end of this video. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for stopping by today. Please do us a favor, leave a like, Leave a comment down below, let us know what you think, and please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the videos. We are going to keep grinding on this thing day by day, guys. So if you guys are excited like we are, just keep watching for the videos, turn the notifications on so it'll pop up when we post, and hopefully we'll be driving this thing sooner than later.